One winter afternoon, I was in my kitchen chopping vegetables when I heard a strange sound from the backyard. It was a mix of rustling branches and this really loud, wet cough. I cautiously walked outside, half expecting to find an intruder. But it wasn't a person. After a moment, I located the source of the noise. Tucked away in the branches of a lily-pilly tree was a small brush-tailed possum. As I got a closer look, my heart just sank. Through the leaves, I could see its two big black eyes staring out, and its eyelids were dotted with pus. Its little pink nose was all swollen, and its body was covered in rashes, with patches of fur missing all over. It was huffing and looked like it had been in a fight, all bloodied. It reminded me of an old, forgotten teddy bear, losing its stuffing and left to decay in the garden. It looked absolutely miserable. Instinct just took over. My heart completely overruled my head. I ran back inside, grabbed a bag of frozen berries from the freezer, and quickly thawed a handful in some water. I went back out and gently placed a few of the wet berries on the fence near the possum. For the rest of the afternoon, I just watched. The little guy slowly picked up the berries, nibbling on them while purple juice dripped down its chin. As the sun began to set, it curled up, tucked its head into its chest, and wheezed itself to sleep right there on the fence. Now, feeding native wildlife is a really controversial topic. You have people who happily toss meat to kookaburras, and then you have others who strongly believe we should just let nature take its course. I decided to do the responsible thing and called a wildlife rescue organization. They advised me to try and capture the possum so it could get proper veterinary care. So, later that evening, my husband tried to gently approach it with an old bath towel. It was like a scene straight out of an old horror movie. As he got close, the possum suddenly sprang to life. It let out this terrifying screech, and then, in a flash, it scampered off into the darkness. It was gone. Despite being so scared, it was clear the possum remembered the berries. A few days later, it was back. But honestly, after seeing how terrified it was, I couldn't bring myself to try and catch it again. I was genuinely worried that the stress of being captured might do more harm than good, maybe even hasten its death. So, against all the official advice, I started leaving out food for it. Just little things like slices of apple and carrot. It felt like the neighborly thing to do for a creature that was clearly suffering. But I also knew that regular feeding can sometimes harm an animal more than it helps. In their natural habitat, brush-tail possums eat native plants, shrubs, and leaves. Claire MacArthur, a professor of behavioral ecology, explains that this is a major reason why we should avoid feeding them. We don't know what our human food does to their gut bacteria, and if they become dependent on us for food, what happens when we go on holiday or move away? There are other risks too. John Grant from the wildlife rescue organization WIRES points out that animals can become too comfortable around humans. They lose their natural fear of predators, which includes our own domestic pets like cats and dogs. He says the best way to help is to plant native trees and shrubs in your garden that are local to your area. That provides a natural, sustainable food source for them. And there's another interesting point. Annie Downing, a veterinary nurse at Taronga Zoo, mentioned that if you regularly feed a male possum, it can actually cause it a lot of stress. Other male possums, attracted by the easy meal, will try to move into its territory, and the resident possum will feel constantly pressured to defend its space. But here's where it gets complicated. Professor MacArthur also says that giving a possum an occasional healthy treat might not be the worst thing in the world. She says one of the benefits is that it can help us start to value the wildlife around us. It's not a simple yes or no answer. It's a very fine line. Daryl Jones, a professor from Griffith University, agrees. While he's clear that no wild animals in Australia actually need extra food from us, he acknowledges the reality. Millions of people are feeding birds and other animals every single day. And when they look for information on how to do it responsibly, they often find nothing but negativity. Professor Jones felt compelled to fill this information gap with facts. He's a behavioral ecologist himself and has written several books, including a field guide on this very topic. He says his mission is to help reconnect people with nature. His philosophy is that when we take the time to observe, understand, and care about the wildlife around us, that's when we'll be motivated to protect them. That connection is the first, most important step. It's been almost a year now since that sick possum first appeared. I still see it on our fence from time to time. Its wounds have completely healed, It doesn't wheeze or wobble anymore. Instead, it's developed a taste for my vegetable patch. It happily munches on my rainbow chard and parsley every few nights. And while I do miss having my own fresh veggies, I can't help but laugh when I see what this picky possum has decided to eat. It makes me wonder why it doesn't seem to like the lemon thyme. Some mornings, I wake up and our backyard is covered in lily-pilly fruits, as if there was a possum party the night before. And every now and then, my husband still leaves out a slice of apple for our resident possum, even though we know we probably shouldn't. But philosophically, I think it's okay. Building that connection, that little moment of shared existence, feels right. It's a reminder that we share this space with incredible creatures, and maybe, just maybe, a little bit of kindness, even in the form of a stolen piece of parsley, is what helps us all get by. Thanks so much for watching. What are your thoughts on this? Have you ever had a similar experience? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, please give it a like and subscribe for more content. See you next time!